Verhofstadt.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Mr. Barroso, thank you very much for your message. Certainly because you have recognized that was a change with the debates we got the last months and the last year. We are still in the middle of a deep crisis, and we have to recognize that when we discuss the State of the Union today. But in my opinion, it's more a deep political crisis what we are seeing today. Everybody is talking about public finances, about interest rates, about economics. In my opinion, it's not about Greece. It's not about the public finances. It's not even about economics. That is the fallout of the crisis. The real nature of this crisis is, in my opinion, a political one, and that is the political incapacity today to make the jump forward to a federal union, and more precisely the incapacity of the national elites of Europe to make this jump to a more federal union in Europe. That is the real crisis that we are living today. And I'm saying that, Mr. Barroso, because you have made the whole speech, but at the end of the speech you come with a concept, and that concept, we can accept it. A federation of nation states. No federation of nation states. That's more of the same that we have already. That's the European Council. That is the federation of nation states, where are the heads of government and the heads of states who are trying to solve and are incapable to solve this crisis. Not more of the same. We don't need a nationalistic or a national future for Europe. We need a post-national future for Europe. That we need. What we need for Europe is not a federation of nation states, it's a federal union of the European citizens. It's about citizens and it's not about nation states in the future.
Guy,
and that is the...
Guy, excuse, un moment. Ist vielleicht für deine Rede von...
Perhaps this is a very important speech. The German Constitutional Court has rejected the appeal, and the stability mechanism is allowed.
Voilà déjà une première bonne nouvelle aujourd'hui. Bon. Peut-être la deuxième, peut-être que M. Barroso dit, oui, en fait, fédération des États-nations, je vais changer ça dans une union fédérale. Alors on a l'unanimité dans la maison aujourd'hui. President, I think it's important to recognize that we have still, even after the decision of the Constitutional Court, because I have to tell you, I'm always a little bit of criticism about the Constitutional Court, like there are no constitutional courts in the other countries of the European Union for the moment. But maybe in the future we can have the same attention for them as we have for Karlsruhe. But I think that in this context there are still three remarks to be made. My first remark is, it is not the European Central Bank who will solve the crisis. The European Central Bank can help. The European Bank has done the unavoidable. That is the fact that for the third time already, after Trichet with the S&P, after the LTRO, Draghi has bought us time again. But this is a stopgap solution. This is not a structural solution to this crisis. And it is a mistake also in this House to think that, oh, if the ECB comes in, then our problems are over. No, our problems are only over if we have the courage to make the federal union that is desperately needed. And don't think that also this new measure of Draghi can work more than 5 months or 6 months. The crisis shall come back if we don't take our responsibility. And that is my second remark of today, dear colleagues. We all know what the solution is. We all know that we need an economic union, we need a political union, we need a fiscal union, besides a number of individuals at the other side of the plenary. We all know that that is the solution. And I find it unthinkable that we are still waiting to come forward with proposals, and that we are, what we are doing in fact, waiting the outcome of the German elections or something like that, because that is the political reality for the moment. And I think it's very good, and I want to underline that, Mr. Barroso, that today you have introduced a proposal for a single financial supervisor, who is one of the 3 building blocks for a banking union. But what I don't understand is why the Commission is not taking also an initiative on the other building blocks that are needed to solve this crisis. The resolution mechanism for the banks, we need it desperately. The establishment of an economic government and a treasury in Europe, we need it desperately if we want to solve the crisis. And then the mutualisation of debt by the establishment of a redemption fund. Even the chief of the German Sparkasse last week has said, and he is the former Minister of Finance of Bavaria, a good member of the CSU, that it is absolutely necessary that we have a redemption fund if we want to solve this crisis. And more than that, he has asked the European Commission, the chief of ALDE Sparkasse in Germany, that the Commission should make an initiative in that sense. So my question to you is, Mr. Barroso, why these 2 standards? If the European Council in June is asking you to come forward with a proposal of a banking union within 2 months, and that's a good thing, Mr. Barnier is there with a proposal for a banking union. And if this Parliament is already asking 4 times in the 2-pack and in the resolutions to come forward with a redemption fund, what is a real structural solution to this crisis, well, we receive nothing at all. Why the European Council is more important than the European Parliament when you come forward with your initiative? Why? In my opinion, we are in a balanced union. You have the Council and you have the Parliament. If the Parliament requests you to come forward with a package of legislative proposals to end this crisis, it's your obligation, it's your duty to do that. And we are still waiting. We are still waiting, I don't know what, green light from, let's guess, Berlin, I think, a little bit of Paris, before you take action in that sense. And that brings me finally to my 3rd point. That's the proposal that we have on the table today. That is the creation, the establishment of a single financial supervisory authority by giving more powers to the European Central Bank. I have to tell you, Mr. Barroso, I think it's the idea that we have that, because we need a single supervisor. But I have some question marks on the model that we are choosing today. Because let's be honest, Mr. Barnier, what we do is mainly copying the Banque de France. That's what we're doing. In most of our countries, in Britain is the case, in Belgium is the case, in the Netherlands is the case, in Germany is the case, you have a split between, at the one side, a monetary authority, and at the other side, a financial supervision. I cannot understand why we could not merge the 3 institutions that we have today into what we call a financial supervisory agency or authority, so that we don't mix financial supervision tasks into a monetary authority. What is not, in fact, a useful... I see a number of conflicts possible today. Eurozone banks versus non-Eurozone banks. Banks versus financial institutions, other financial institutions. I see a problem between the ECB and the EBA. The EBA is making the road book and the ECB is applying the road book. I have to tell you, finally, I see also a problem on the democratic accountability, because democratic accountability is not conceivable with the independence of the bank. So my proposal to you, Mr. Barroso, is in any way to look further into that question and also to change the legal basis. My proposal and suggestion to you and Mr. Barnier is not only to use 127 as legal base, but also 114, so that we have a full co-decision with the Parliament on so an important matter in the future. So I conclude, Mr. President, but I have a little bit more time as you interrupted me in the beginning of my speech for good news, so there is no criticism from my side. I think it's absolutely needed now, Mr. Barroso, that not only we hear a good speech from you, but it's absolutely necessary that you put a whole package of legislative proposals in the sense the Parliament wants. Because you have to know, don't forget that your legitimacy comes from this House, from this Parliament, and it's also this House that can take it back. Thank you.